I left a high-paying job and a career that I've built for over a decade.
But what made you shift careers?
Okay, I don't want to do it anymore. I quit.
If you had more responsibilities back then, would you still have done it?
Yeah, I was very scared.
If I want to switch my career, what am I supposed to do?
I left a high-paying job and a career that I've built for over a decade. I took a 70% salary cut to chase something that I love, and it was the best decision I ever made.
Okay, what were you doing?
I was working in the insurance industry for around 11 years,
Okay.
and then I decided that I want to change careers.
What did you change to?
I changed to become an entrepreneur, which,
What is it?
by the way, I changed careers twice in my
Being
life.
an entrepreneur is not a career. An entrepreneur in
But,
what?
In FMCG, basically, in import
Okay.
and export. So I left the insurance industry to become an entrepreneur, tried that for a couple of years, and then I can give you another hook as well. I left being an entrepreneur to chase something that I love. But also, I changed a couple of years after that because my business failed. Surprise, right? And then I found myself where I really belonged in media. It took maybe 3 to 4 years to find my footing and where I really belonged and basically finding a job that makes me happy. Now
But
I'm
what
here
made you shift
and
careers? Like,
I shifted careers because I hated my job and I wanted something else. So I was like, okay, I don't want to do it anymore. I quit. I want to do something else. And at that time, the opportunities that were available to me were not the right opportunities, but they were different than what I was doing.
and that's all you wanted. You just wanted something
To
else.
leave. Yeah. And this is the wrong reason to shift careers. After going through this experience, I wouldn't advise people to switch careers just because they hate their jobs. You have to plan for it. You have to know what you want, plan for it, have some money, and have any of that. I had to figure it out on my own. But it made me stronger at the end of the
Weren't you
day.
scared?
Yeah, I was very scared.
How did your family react?
My family, my mom was like,
Can you please act? Can you act that
throwing
exact-
it throwing his career out the window. What did I do to you guys? Why?
Can you do it?
My
in
mom made it
Lebanese?
about herself.
I think a lot of people, when they hear the word career shift, they just think like, what does that entail? Like, when you left your job,
Yeah.
what did you do day two? Like, how did you start your company? Like, what
Yeah.
was it? Like, what
A
did
month
you do?
after, I was in Saudi. A month after that, I was in Dubai. We had registered the company, me and my brother. Within 3 months, we were talking to suppliers from the US. Within 6 months, I was meeting every single supermarket owner and mini market
So you were getting
owner
stuff
here.
from the US
Yeah,
to
and
here.
selling it here. And basically, my life changed overnight. And I realized something during that time that, in retrospect, now I see. I hated it. From the beginning, I hated it. I wasn't excited in the morning. I was more fearful. I was anxious. I was stressed.
I need to make this work.
I need to make this work. It was more of like, I need to prove myself that this was the right decision. And it wasn't at that time. I know a lot of people in my circle who have thought about switching careers at some point in their lives. None of them have. I'm the only one in my group of friends that has. But when is it too late to switch careers? Is there a number? Is it like, do you ever wake up at some point in your life and you're like, yeah, I want to do something else. I hate what I do, or I don't like what I do, but it's too late for me.
I
gotta
was gonna
stick to
ask
it.
you, like, when you decided to do that, which I think you're going to answer now, did you have less responsibilities? Like, if you had more responsibilities back then, if you had some kind of financial obligation or something, would
Yeah.
you still have done it even though you hate your job so much?
Of course, I had less responsibility. I wasn't married, didn't have a mortgage. I was only thinking about myself, and I had the luxury of only thinking about myself. Now it's so much different. Now, if you tell me switch careers into something I love even more than now, I would be like, even though it sounds amazing, I probably shouldn't do it because
So is that
it's
the
gonna take me a
threshold?
step.
Having a family to take care of?
Yeah, so I think the question that I asked was wrong in the beginning because we always say, like, I'm too old to switch careers. I think that's the wrong question. How you framed it is the right way to frame it. Can I
That's
afford?
actually crazy how he's agreeing with
Can I afford to switch careers? That's the right question. Because when you switch careers, you have to take one thing into consideration. This is the most important thing that you should think about when you're switching careers. Am I ready to become a beginner again in a new field? And if you've worked 10 years, like me, in an industry, there's ego as well. You're being treated a certain way. I was managing a small team, I had a portfolio, and then I'm going somewhere where I'm like at the first step of that ladder. And you have to check your ego at the door when you want to switch
Yeah.
careers. People are gonna look at you and be like, well, how come you're in this position when you're like 30 years old? You should be higher up. What happened? And when I switched into media,
It's crazy to me that you shifted careers
Yeah.
twice. Like, why did you decide to do
the
that?
best
a
thing
second
that
time?
happened when I became an entrepreneur is that my business failed. My back was against the wall. I had nothing to lose at that point. I'm like, you know what? I need to leave capitalism for a while. I need to go out and go to a country where I'm not dealing with the corporate world on a daily basis and I'm not trying to sell and buy and all that stuff. So I decided to go volunteer in Nepal in a jungle for jungle. It was literally a jungle there where there was like a leopard risk there. You couldn't walk
Oh
around at
my
night.
God.
Yeah, and teach students there and also like plant spinach and like work in agriculture and stuff like that. And it was the best experience of my life. It was so eye-opening and it made me realize there that it was staring me in the face all along. I knew what I was good at. I knew it all along. I knew it from when I was a kid. And it took Nepalese students that were like 10 or 11 to tell me, "You're so good at telling stories. You're such a good writer."
Uh-huh.
Oh, I really understood this lesson more because of the way you explained it.
Mm.
And after those 2 months there, I knew I need to come back. I need to work in my field, economics, and I need to write. I need to start writing and doing that stuff. One thing led to another and snowballed, and here I am in Moniify right now. But that was the best thing that ever happened to me that I failed at being an
Look,
entrepreneur.
all of this sounds really good and amazing, and I'm really happy for you, okay?
Thank you.
However, I feel like a lot of people will hear this and be like, "Oh, okay, I'll try to shift my career. I know it has some risk or whatever. I'll take the risk." I feel like you need to be a specific type of person to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Like if you're starting something from scratch, okay, and you're gonna be a beginner at something, you need to be very persistent. You
Oh,
need
yeah.
to be very like, I'm gonna do this. I wanna.
Yeah.
You need to be able to take criticism. You need to
صح.
be able to take shit, basically. Okay, if I want to switch my career
To what?
in I just want to
To
switch
what?
my
Like, give me a career, a potential career that you might switch to.
event planning,
Okay.
for
Wow,
example.
it's very random.
I like planning events. Let's say, okay, I want to switch my career to event planning in the next year. Okay, like 1 year from now. What am I supposed to do?
Well, first of all, like learn about that industry, start networking with people in that industry, put yourself out there, go out to events, meet the organizers. Funnily enough, I have a friend of mine who's very social as well. She lives in Ireland. She works in Google. She loves event planning. She loves it so much. And then she started a company there 2 years ago. And now she's like on the verge of quitting Google
Wow.
and giving that full time. She's a social person. She went to the right circles. She attended events. She asked the organizers, like, what does it take to build an event? Like, and then slowly but surely she built it up. Took her a couple of years. And now she's leaving. She's probably gonna leave. She's not leaving Google. Like she might leave Google
The fake news.
to actually follow that passion of hers full time. So like I said, it needs effort and commitment and like knowing exactly what you want. But you're 25, 26, right?
27.
The older you get, the higher the cost of switching careers, in my opinion. In your 20s, you basically have nothing to lose. You're just starting your career out. If you decide you want to switch careers now, of course, there is a price to pay, but it's like 4 years of experience, 5 years of experience. In your 30s, you probably have to take a pay cut. I took a pay cut, huge one. In your 40s or end of the 30s, you probably have a mortgage, you probably have kids, you have a wife, you have bigger commitments. So it's even harder to switch at that point. And even later in the 50s and stuff like that, I mean, I wouldn't advise it.
But wait,
Switching
weren't we
careers at
just
that
talking
point.
about the KFC guy?
Yeah.
He started KFC at what? 51?
Look, these stories are nice and they're sensational, but I always say this. I think I've said it like 4 times on this show already. These are the exception to the rule. They are not the rule. Yeah, but something really interesting is I found this study, and apparently people switch careers more than I thought. I mean, maybe it's here in the Arab world that we don't do that because I think we're indoctrinated when we're kids. You have to become a lawyer, an
I
engineer,
remember
a
like
doctor.
I remember my dad hammering into my
Yeah.
brain that you have to be an engineer or a doctor.
Yeah,
And when I
there you
told him
go.
I wanted to do media, it was like,
There
oh
you
my
go.
God, like
Yeah.
your life is gonna be like a disaster. But like even like now, if I even talk about the idea of shifting careers, like it's gonna cause so
Yeah.
much anxiety and stress because to them it's like like back then
Yeah.
it took so much. Back then it was a red flag, I think.
Exactly. Same for my mom. Like she didn't even know what I did in the insurance industry, but she knew it was a stable income. And then when I said that I wanted to leave, it was such a big deal. Like, how are you going to leave a career
Yeah.
behind 10 years? The opportunity cost for her was for her. I'm the one paying for it, but like the opportunity cost was too large for her. For me to quit my job and do it. And that's something you should know. The opportunity cost of switching careers. Like, what are you giving? What are you leaving behind? Like I said, in your 20s, not so much. 30s, a little bit more. 40s, a little bit more. 50s becomes even harder. But people in the West switch careers all the time. According to the Journal of Vocational Behavior, they looked across decades of research and found out that career transitions have become a normal part of working life rather than an exception.
Are there any stats on whether this is something more prevalent with men more than women, for
I didn't check that
example?
out, but I think you would find more men, right?
I'm not trying to imply anything, but in the Arab world, just culturally, how it is here, men are usually the providers, right?
Yeah.
So they have more responsibilities. That's just how it is. So I'm wondering if that makes them less likely to shift
That's a good
careers
point.
compared to
Yeah.
women. You know, a lot of women also have obviously the same life of having to provide and having to be like
All the
financial
women that I know
obligations
that
and
I've
stuff.
switched
So
careers have opened a jewelry brand. Why do you guys do that? Honestly, like, why is that
actually
your
thought of like
go-to?
3
I'm
different
telling
people
you.
that did that.
Like she was working at PwC and all of a sudden now she's making bracelets.
We're creatives.
There's an interesting stat here.
Okay.
Job switching plans are highest among Gen Z.
I would expect that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. We were talking about, I think Gen Zs have more of a propensity to be like, I don't like this, I'm leaving. I'm trying something new. And I think that's the right kind of approach, but you have to plan for it, is my point. When I was researching this episode, I kind of thought about these last 8 years and experience compounds. You know, you have to start kind of like at the beginning of the ladder, but your experience matters.
Yeah.
And with time, you'll see it'll give you an advantage. For example, your communication skills, your leadership. If you worked in sales and negotiations, you can use these in basically every industry, right? I wanted to say something that's really nice. I found in this research about how people are switching careers more. And to Alaa's points, Gen Zs are switching careers more than millennials. Careers are not ladders anymore. They've become kind of like a jungle gym. And I love that when I read it. And I think it's true. I see it now more
agree.
in the West. I think soon enough it'll start coming to us as well. But yeah, there's not just
It's not
one
about how
ladder
high
that you
you
climb.
are
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
It's about what you can do.
You can move horizontally, you can
Yeah.
move up. If you decide you want to go down and then horizontally, again, there are opportunities for you to do that, especially with the age of the internet. So I think switching careers has become more prevalent these days.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, it's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, I want to know what sucked about this experience.
Okay,
And be honest.
I'm gonna talk about after I came back from Nepal because that's when I started like starting to work here. First of all, I was living with my brother. I couldn't pay rent. I had little to no money that I still had from the startup that we started, and I had to like really manage it well, and it needed to last me the longest time that it could. It lasted me around like 6 months, and what was hard is the first article that I sold was an article to a platform that wrote about the NBA. I like basketball, so I started writing for them. I just needed a job, and I negotiated with them. The first money I made writing was $10, and I'm so proud of that moment. By the way, like I remember coming out of my room and be like, somebody paid me to write them something, and that's amazing. So one thing led to another, and then this big YouTube channel had post on LinkedIn that they're looking for writers, and I opened the channel, and it was about space, philosophy, psychology, stuff all up in my alley.
So Hadi coded.
Yeah. So I applied for that job and they shortlisted me between like 5 people as well. And then I eventually got that freelance job. That paid so much better. I was writing like 10-minute scripts for them and they were paying $400 per script. I'm like, amazing. If I can do
Wow.
one a week and I can make a lot of money. I can make $1,600. That's a great start. But anyway, after a while I was in a rhythm. This was like a year in. Like I went to Nepal, I came back a year after. I was making like $1,600 a month. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to Nepal again, meet my students. And I was happy. I was writing one script a day, getting paid a week, getting paid $400. And I remember at the end of my trip, right before I was supposed to come back to Dubai, they texted me and they're like, look, we need to cut down on the amount of videos that we're posting, so you get only one a month. There are
Oh.
other writers as well. So I came back here depressed. It's like, shit, I thought I took like 5 steps forward in this year. I was starting to find my way. And then it's really funny how things align. A month later, a platform that was also starting a financial social media platform, they approached me. It was governmental. And they're like, we need somebody who's, knows economics and is a good writer.
It just worked out.
And then I started.
And you had a
doing
portfolio.
it. Yeah,
Bro,
exactly.
that's amazing. What's one thing that you discovered on your own from this experience that no one told you about?
Money is important. money's important. That's what I told you
Wow,
when
what an
when we
amazing
started.
discovery.
Honestly, because people shift careers. Again, I think the most important thing is don't shift careers because you hate your job. A lot of people do it, they hate their jobs, they're so emotional, they quit and they're like, I'm pursuing something new.
Yeah.
You can hate your job and want to switch careers because of it, but plan, have some money. The hardest thing I went through is I didn't have money, and that was for the first time in my life. I always was able to sustain myself ever since I left uni. When I switched careers, there were times where I was worried about being able to last till the end of the month with the money I had. So have some money. Money is very important when you want to switch careers.
When did you say it was too late to switch careers? What did you say the threshold was?
Look, it depends on people. I think 20s is the best time. 30s, it becomes a little bit harder, but if you're single, it's still plausible for me. 40s, if you're married, you have a mortgage, you have kids, I wouldn't advise any of my friends in their 40s to who would come to me and tell me, I want to switch careers. I would say, bro, you can't do it right now. Or how much do you have saved? And do you really want to dig into your emergency fund or your savings to pursue something personal right now when you have
Yeah.
all these commitments? It can seem unfair, like self-fulfillment is very important, but yeah, money comes first in my opinion. So
That's your answer, guys.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of switching careers,
yeah,
don't.
plan for it. Plan for it. Have some money first and then switch your career.
Yeah. Okay, guys, listen. You don't have to actually like or share or subscribe if you don't want to. I'm just saying that if you don't, you're gonna miss out on so much good shit.
Yeah. Please like, subscribe. We started our own YouTube page for No One Told Me by Moniify. Like, subscribe, follow us. We're also on all listening platforms as well. We really want to make this podcast work, and we have a lot of interesting content to share with you guys. So
We really do.
it would really help us reach more people.
But also, if you don't like or subscribe, we don't really care.
Such a Gen Z word. No, like, subscribe. We need you.
I'm just kidding. I actually want you
Like,
to.
I don't care, whatever. Like, if you want to subscribe.
I feel like it's reverse psychology. That's how it works, by the way.